All right. So we're doing. Okay, we are working on the compound interest formula. Okay, that's the formula we're working on, and I want to make sure that we know how to do it. So here's the formula I'm going to put up on the board one more time, and then we're going to walk through it. So here it is. So A equals P1 plus R over N NT. This is the formula we're going to use for every single problem today, every single one. Unless they tell you you have a certain like time frame, like 20 years or 15 years or whatever the years are, we're going to assume that this is always 30-year loan. Does that make sense today? 30-year loan, because that's pretty standard, unless they tell you otherwise. Now, and again, read the directions. I might tell you otherwise. Don't use the chart they want you to use in the book. The book is outdated. I want you to use the actual numbers and this formula, and you have to use your calculator to do it. So let me go through the first example. I'm going to go through 3 types of problems that look exactly like your homework. 3 problems. Does that make sense? They're going to build upon each other. So the first problem they're going to give you, they're going to tell you your principal that you're borrowing. So this is the first example. So the principal that you're borrowing, the mortgage that you're going to take the loan out for, let's say it's a $90,000 home. Very similar to what we did yesterday. The interest rate, maybe today's rate on this particular problem is 5%. And they're not going to tell me anything, so I'm going to assume it's 30 years. So I'm going to go a 30-year loan, 12 interest. So again, they don't tell you those numbers. If they don't tell you a time, just use 30 years. 30-year loan, 12 compounds. 12 is always the compounds for every single problem. You will not change that number. So really, I could have just put 12s in the formula on the board. The only reason why I don't is because the formula could change depending on what your credit card is, because maybe they only charge a compound like 4 times a year, quarterly, as opposed to every month, monthly. All right, let's do the math here. So here's what we have. We have $90,000. Okay, 90,000. 1 plus the 5%, which is 0.05. Remember, you always have to move the decimal 2 spots. This is something I was catching people on yesterday. Make sure you move the decimal 2 spots, whatever it is. We're going to divide by 12, and in the power we have 12. We're going to put 30 up in the power. Okay, so this is the first type of problem we're doing. Very straightforward. It just asks what's the mortgage you're paying, like how much are you going to actually pay for the home. Okay, so doing the math here. We have to do the 0.05. We're going to divide that. So 0.05, divide that by 12. Here's what we have. 0.05 divided by 12 is, yeah, this is a crazy number across the screen. It's 0.0041 and a bunch of 6s. Okay, and you can just keep going and going and going. Use as many decimal places as possible today. Use as many as possible. Okay, in the power, 12 times 30, this is 360. Again, that's just multiplying those out. All right, questions on the first step. Next, I'm going to actually add the two together. So if I add the 1 plus the 0.00416666, I'm going to add that together. So that gives me 1.00416666. And the idea is that now what I'm going to do is many decimal places as I can, put that to the 360th power. Now, to do that power, you have to type in the 1.00416666, and you have to hit the little caret key, the little up arrow key, and then type in 360. So I've already typed my number in. I'm going to put it to the 360. So so this number turns out to be, when I put it to the 360th power, it turns out to be 4.467744314, and yes, I'm using as many decimal places as possible. That's putting that 1 to the 360th power, and then I take it times 90,000, and I get 402,096.99. Around. There you go. It's a $400,000 home over 30 years with 5%. Questions at all about what I did there? It's a lot of interest, by the way. 5% interest is crazy. All right, again, that's what you're paying over 30 years. Now, how this problem would be different, okay? So they give you the rates, they give you the percent, they give you the years, compounds, okay, they give you all that. The second type of problem they're gonna ask, okay, other than finding what the mortgage is, what you're gonna pay total, what was the interest you paid? Like, what was the extra money you paid just to the bank? That's called interest. Well, what you do, and this would be the second type of question, you'll see it when they ask, what's the interest you paid? It's $402,096.99, and you're going to subtract the original payment for the home. Right, the $90,000. You're going to subtract that off, and this will be the extra money that you paid to the bank just for taking that loan. You paid them $312,096.99. This is the extra money. This would be just the interest paid. It's the extra cash. It's called interest. That's a lot of money over 30 years. Now, that's, what is that, that's 4 times the house price? It's literally 3 more of those houses you could have bought if you just had paid in cash. So it's ridiculous. That's silly. That's stupid numbers. All right, questions at all about the second type of problem they're going to ask you to do? So it's the same question, right? You have to do all the same work, but then in the end, you just take your number and subtract off the original price of the home and figure out the interest. The last type of question they'll ask you, other than what your interest paid, is what is your monthly payment going to be? All right, that's interesting. That actually takes a little bit of calculation, because what you have to figure out, okay, if you're going to figure out your monthly payment, what you need to actually figure out is how many years you're going for and how many months are in that year. So, how many months or how many years were you taking our loan out for? This one? 30. Now, if your problem said 40 or 20, you have to go with that number. So, stick with whatever the book says. Okay, so in this problem, I'm going 30 years. So what you're going to do is take this number, 402,096, 96 and 99 cents. And what you do is you're going to divide first by the number of years. So in my case, 30 years. And then you're going to divide by 12. And this is literally what your monthly payment would be. 30 years, 12 months of a year. You divide by each number. So just do them one at a time. So in my case, if I divide by 30 and divide by 12, my monthly payment on this home, my monthly payment is $1,116.94. This is my monthly payment. Yeah, this is what I did. This is the number of years. This is the months. And this is my monthly payment. Those are my 3 types of problems. But they're all based on the same problem. So they just have you like expanding one more each time. Like the first couple problems, they just have you finding exactly what your payment is. The second type of problems, they have you find, okay, what was the interest you paid? And the third problem is go even further and figure out what the monthly payment is. Again, that monthly payment can change depending on the number of years. These numbers can change because maybe your problem says 20 years, so the T's will be 20. So that would change what power you're going to. Okay, questions on the basic problems that I have today? Okay, homework's on the board. It's page 89, page 91. You can see all the problems over there. I'd say this is a relatively small assignment. It's over 2 different pages. If you have a calculator, you should be done pretty quick. Try to show a little bit of work. Make sure you're definitely reading the question. What is it asking for? Is it asking for interest paid? Is it asking for just what your total mortgage was, like what you're going to pay for the house total, or what your monthly payment is? Those are the 3 problems. I'm going to leave these on the board so you know exactly what to do.
Not really.
Okay, so It's gonna be one of these three numbers you're gonna probably have to be finding. I'll leave that on the board.